Welcome to Wrestling with Goals, and See, Believe, and Achieve podcast, where we delve into the minds of elite athletes and coaches to uncover their secrets behind their success. I'm your host, Shawn Geris, former university wrestling coach, D1 wrestler, national champion, Olympic trials medalist, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, three-time world team coach in grappling, and author. Join me as we explore the realms of training, mindset, goal setting, overcoming adversity, and various coaching methodologies in the world of sports. Today's guest is a pretty cool one, a guy that I've known for a while and had a chance to coach, Clayton Pye. Now you're an MMA fighter, 4-0, right?
Yep, 4-0 pro.
You wrestled for the University of Brock, as well as the York University while I was there.
Yep.
And let's talk about your beginnings in wrestling, because I know that's where you started.
Yeah.
But first of all, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here. It's been a long time, so I'm happy to see you too.
Yeah, we tried to connect, for a while now, and it's just been, you've got something going on.
Yeah.
You're either away in Japan or somewhere training or doing something.
Yeah.
It's great to get back to connect, and hopefully this is going to be a pretty cool podcast for everybody to listen to. And I'm going to learn a little bit more about you today, because we haven't seen each other in like years.
Yeah.
I think the last time we actually saw each other was probably when I gave you the dummy during COVID.
Gunther.
Yeah, Gunther.
I still got Gunther. Gunther is doing surprisingly well too. I have him at the gym.
Oh yeah.
And he probably is getting more punches than he ever has gotten before. But he's also being wrestled with. I used him today with one of my clients I was doing a private with. So he's been very useful to me. Thank you, Gunther Geris.
For those that don't know who Gunther is, do you want to explain who Gunther is before you see your beaten?
Yeah. So during COVID, I was looking for a way to stay active, still train, and Shawn offered up a wrestling dummy and a Bulgarian bag too. I still have that.
Yep.
So because you weren't supposed to have any contact, I had a buddy with me. So, but yeah, Gunther and I during COVID, we were the best of buds, me and Gunther.
Yeah, well, glad to hear he's doing well.
Yeah, I don't know if he's doing well, but he's still around.
Still around, taking a beating.
His arms are coming off again. And,
yeah, well, his we had him at the Toronto Police College prior to York, and a fellow by the name, I can't remember his name right now, but I used to call him the Dream Killer. Yeah. But he was a jiu-jitsu guy, and he was just this little jiu-jitsu guy, and he'd do arm bars on that thing non-stop. So he almost tore the damn.
Well, you had the one arm taped up when you gave it to me.
Yeah.
So it was already had already seen better days.
So yeah, he's losing the battle like that.
He's a Niagara Top Team guy now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does he get a seat at your fights?
I should get one for him next time. I'll make a little video about it and everything.
There you go. You got to bring him out, see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your beginnings, because your beginnings started in wrestling.
Yep.
And it started in the good old city of London, Ontario, one of the meccas of wrestling here in Ontario.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. How did you get actually interested in wrestling in the first place?
So, I'll have to correct you on that. I started in Stratford.
Oh,
but that was just for high school. High school, I started in Stratford. And my brother and I were on the wrestling team at Northwestern. I think it's called Central High School or something now.
Okay.
But we started there. And then what brought me to London actually was a teacher strike.
Oh.
So there was no wrestling practice anymore, and therefore no WASA, OFSA, whatever. So my dad started looking into alternatives, and then that's where I met Clint.
Yep.
Kingsbury, and I started going to Adrenaline and training with him. And then he was like, let's ditch Adrenaline and go train at the Harry Geris Wrestling Club. So, which was also in London. What's the name of the high school we were in there?
Is it Saunders?
I
can't remember. Yeah. Well, maybe it's Saunders. I know my dad's built the wrestling room in the Saunders facility, so it might have been that. Yeah. Clint, if he's listening, maybe he can.
No, it was in a cafeteria at the time.
Oh.
Yeah, they shut down the one half. They rolled the mats out there.
Yeah. Could have been Laurier. That's what they did at Laurier too.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
But so then my whole wrestling before that was just high school wrestling, and the difference from when I changed from high school wrestling to a club team was astronomical. I went straight to provincials after, maybe half a year of training with Clint, and won my first provincial title, and then went and did my first nationals. Didn't do so well there, but after that did Canada Summer Games, got second there, and then the wrestling thing stopped really like being a hobby for me. It was more like, oh, I can go to school and do this, and my dad jokes all the time. He's like, you got a bachelor's in wrestling and you picked up a psych degree while you were there. So that's that, and actually, well, York first, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a blip on the radar.
Yeah.
You were there for a bit.
Yeah. So when I made the decision to pursue wrestling further after high school, my grades weren't so good. So, and you and I were just searching for a place that had let me in, and they were all turning me down because I didn't have great grades. So I got myself set up at Seneca College for a general arts degree, and actually best grades of my life. I don't know if it was just because the colleges there are lenient, or if I just I was paying for it, so I felt extra inclined to do well.
I think that was it's a pretty high academic standard there.
Yeah, when you're in high school, you're not paying for it, so you don't. You're like, oh, screw this. But so while I was at Seneca, I was wrestling for York University club team with you there, and it was good. Yeah, it kind of gave me a taste of I didn't get to wrestle varsity, but I got to see all my teammates and stuff do that, and I was like, I need to get into a university too, so I had to get those grades up, and I didn't have to get them too high because I went to Brock. Yeah. So, walk, talk, front headlock, Brock, right? So,
I haven't heard that one. I heard something close, but I haven't heard that one.
Well, they say walk and talk, you can go to Brock, but the wrestlers added the front headlock in there because obviously a lot of Brock guys like their head pinches. So.
Yep.
But so there was a while there we were looking at going to the States.
Yeah, I know. I had reached out to Kerry Colat. Anybody that knows wrestling, and especially in the States, if maybe some Canadians don't know the name, but Kerry Colat was an amazing international wrestler who there's a screw job on YouTube if you ever want to watch that. It's a pretty cool documentary. But we also reached out to John Smith from Oklahoma State, and they were very. I'll tell you, they wanted you there.
Yeah, I know.
They just didn't have the money to get you there. So I mean, I would have.
Well, I put everything through, and I got accepted, and they were like trying to get me to come down, and then I was just couldn't afford it, right? So,
because they wanted you to come on as a walk-on first, prove yourself. And,
But I didn't know folk style, and they had no idea like how well I would do at folk style because they had nothing to look at, right? So then I reached out to you. I reached out to Clint. You guys were like, just go to Brock. Everybody's gonna hate you, but go to Brock. Because Brock was reigning supreme for a long time, and everybody wanted them to crumble. But
I remember reaching out to Prickett. Prickett had just left Guelph.
Yep.
And I said, hey, I got a kid for you. He's a machine. He's a horse. You need him in your room. And Prickett he jumped at it. And I think he took your name to Calder. And I think that's where the ball started rolling after that. Yeah,
they Marty actually told me they weren't even really looking at me because they just assumed I was going to stay at York. Or they thought I was going to go up to UNB because Clint was up there, right?
Yep.
So he didn't even try to come after me, but as soon as he told Prickett that and he heard, he was like, oh yeah, give me that kid.
Yeah.
So and yeah, you left me in very capable hands with Prickett. I'm still with Prickett. So
Yeah, no,
just under a different banner now.
Yeah, I've been watching his transition to MMA as well as yours. His transition as a coach. For those of you who don't know who Chris Prickett is, he was a national team member for numerous years. Very tough kid, mentally and physically. And you know, the funny thing is when he was, because he went to Guelph, when he was actually training there, and I was going in and training there as well. Yeah. You know, I had cornered a few guys in the UFC, and he was picking my brain while I was there. Yeah. Unbeknownst to me, it would be years later he'd get into the sport and start training kids himself.
Yeah, yeah. He's been on a tear with the Niagara Top Team Athletes. It's the best gym in Canada right now, as far as most people are concerned. So, but yeah, so did my my stint at Brock, and it was a crazy ride, to say the least. You had maybe I didn't hear about this. Maybe it was from you. You
sent me the. Did you call me, or did you sent me the article?
Well,
we're talking about crazy. We're talking about that incident.
Yeah, very crazy. Yeah. I called you from the hospital.
Okay.
I like when it first happened.
Yeah.
And then.
See, my memory's not so good.
Yeah, but I was like, kind of just looking for a legal perspective at that point.
Now he's coming back to me now.
And I was just like, like who do I call? And I'm like, well, call my old coach Shawn and see what he has to say. And you didn't really try to give me any legal advice, I don't think, at that time. You were just trying to settle me down because I had just gotten stabbed. And I was almost dead, and you're just like, don't worry, things will sort itself out, and blah blah blah. And but yeah, so
well, let's rewind a bit, because somebody's like probably listening to this right now and going, what the hell, like what's he just got stabbed. Can you tell us how that actually that incident kind of transpired?
We interrupt this program to bring you an important announcement.
Looking for top-tier healthcare in the GTA? Look no further than the Core Optimum Health Center. Founded by Dr. Pat Graham, official chiropractor for the Toronto Blue Jays, their clinic offers a wide range of services including physiotherapy, chiropractic care, acupuncture, massage therapy, naturopath, and more, all in a caring professional environment. They also are proud partners with the Shift Concussion Management Program, offering the latest concussion care and online neurocognitive impact testing at their Mississauga location. At the Core, your health is their priority. Visit the Core Optimum Health Center today and experience industry-leading care.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to get into it too much, but I had a friend, they went down a wrong path. While they were down that wrong path, somebody was attacking them, and I stepped in, defended them, and then after the altercation was ended, at least I thought it was ended, they came and stabbed me in the chest. Nearly severing my subclavian artery. It detached the upper pec from my shoulder. So I was in the hospital for about a week. They were trying to, they couldn't really distinguish that it didn't sever my subclavian artery. They were wondering why I wasn't bleeding out. So I, was able to recover from that. Went and did, got my first U Sports gold. Not like.
So how long was the rehab, man? You like went fast forward. They're like, I mean, you just got stabbed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it was pretty quick. That's why I just went out and said it. I got back in there pretty quick. There was a couple weeks of wallowing and being sad, and then my team was like, Clayton, come on, just come out. You don't have to wrestle. But I mean, anybody who knows somebody who really loves wrestling and really loves fighting, when you're injured and you're sitting on the sidelines, you have a very hard time sitting on the sidelines. So I started doing as much as I could, and it turned out I could do quite a bit. The doctors said it was going to be like a 9 months to a year recovery time until I could like do anything, any kind of exercise. 3 months after I got stabbed, I won OUAs, and then 2 weeks after that, or whatever, 2 weeks after that, it was U Sports, and I got my first U Sports gold there. Yeah. So it was a pretty epic story. Unfortunate that it happened in a lot of ways, but cool to look back on it now and think like, wow, I got over that hurdle and was able to overcome that obstacle, and now everything else kind of is like, if I'm having a rough time, I'm like, dude, it's nothing. It's nothing.
I've been through worse.
Yeah, been through way worse, right? So.
Yeah, when I can remember when you first year at Brock, you had wrestled in the OUs and you ended up taking silver, but you had hurt. You were hurt at the time.
I took gold. But I broke my collarbone in the first round of the match.
Oh, okay. So maybe that's, you called me. You had called me maybe before that match or something like that. Yeah. And you told me that you hurt your collarbone, and I think maybe you said you didn't know if you were going to go on or something like that. Yeah. But you ended up going on and winning gold. Yeah. And then how did you do at the CIs?
CIs,
U-Sport, I guess.
It was CIs at that point.
Okay.
That was the last CIs ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a broken collarbone, and originally the plan was to go to the weigh-in, get our points for weigh-ins, and then go to the first match, and then just bow out.
Forfeit.
Yeah,
okay.
Because then that way you still get the points for the team, right?
Yeah.
So I was just there for the team, try to put points on the board. But then I started wrestling and winning my first match. So then they're like, okay, well, he's winning. Let's let him cook. And so I went on. I won again. I forget who I lost to. I think it was maybe Grayson from UNB.
Yep.
He got, I think maybe it was him.
Yep.
But he sent me to the bronze medal round, and I got my bronze medal. There's a real cool picture of me with my shoulder all taped up and my collarbone all taped up, and then lifting my arm. I'm like, grimacing. I was like, yeah. So, yeah, that was another. That was the first big hurdle. I thought that was going to be my big story from my varsity career, and then 2 years later get stabbed in the chest. So same side too. I just have my left arm is my strong side too.
Oh, yes.
I'm left-handed mostly, ambidextrous, but primarily left hand, and it just seems to get the brunt of everything.
Man, you're a shit magnet for those 2 years.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I'm still a shit magnet.
Really?
Look at my face.
So for those of you that can't see it, if you're just listening, he's got two black eyes right now. So let's talk about those black eyes. Let's say you transitioned into MMA.
Yeah.
Let's talk about why. Why? Because you put the accolades on the board. Well, yeah. Let's fast forward because we forgot about the Olympic trials.
Yeah.
So you did go a little bit farther in wrestling.
Yeah. So I won Olympic trials. It was a different. The year was a little bit different. They didn't have seeding, so and I wasn't seeded. And I always had bad
draws.
Stage fright kind of. Not bad draws, but I just kind of. I never performed as well as I could have at the big tournaments. And this was like the first one that I really was just pulling out all the stops. And because there was no seeding, the final match, I didn't think it was best 2 out of 3 matches.
Oh yeah.
So I celebrated real hard on the first win because I thought that was it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if there's no seeding, why would they do a best 2 out of 3? It doesn't make any sense, right? Yeah. But I celebrated really hard on the first match. Came back, lost. I was wrestling Alex Brown.
Okay.
Came back, lost a close match against him. And I think it was probably, again, stage fright, a little embarrassed because I just sellied hard and didn't win. Yeah. And then I came back for the third match and won that match. And that was a great one. It was here in Niagara Falls, like a few blocks away from where we are. Actually, I think it's that way, but I was still have a scar underneath this black eye. Was getting Alex's headbutt.
Oh, yeah.
Every round they had to keep stopping the match, and the headbutts didn't really stop until he split the top of his head open headbutt.
Oh, and then they realized maybe there was an issue.
Yeah. Anyways, big gash on my face, and they had to cauterize it with silver nitrate. So it left a nasty scar, but it's probably my favorite scar. I like it a lot better than this one.
And this one's on your face.
This one's on my face.
Okay,
Yeah. So that's the other thing. So when I get these black eyes from getting punched, now it's the scar tissue makes it linger a little bit longer. It just takes a while for the blood to clear out from underneath there.
Yep.
But won Olympic trials. Went to a qualifier. Fell short. Stage fright again. I was also sick. I don't know if it was COVID at the time because it was very early. COVID wasn't really even a thing in Canada yet. But later on, they found that a bunch of other wrestlers tested.
I remember that.
Yeah, because I was trying to get tested for COVID in Canada, and the rules at the time were, you can't get tested unless you left the country. And I was like, I was just at Pan Am qualifier.
Yeah.
I was with a bunch of different countries. I didn't need to leave. The countries came here. So, but they wouldn't test me. So, but then Wrestling Canada messaged us and just so you know, these guys went back to their countries and they tested positive. So I assume it was COVID. And I had a bad weight cut and lost to some guys that I probably shouldn't have. Guys that I went on later that year to Tech, in first round. So it was a poor situation that, and then I think I was feeling real down on myself for that year, put on a little weight during COVID, and then
we all did.
And then there was one more qualifier, but I lost out to Alex Moore for that one.
And you ended up, Alex Moore, who was our Olympian at the last Paris Games. I had no idea he was related to Rob Moore, and I've known Rob Moore for ages. He was the University of Western's wrestling coach when my dad used to drag us up as little kids to the wrestling practice there. But but you went on to a silver medal performance at the Pan Am Games, Games, or was it the championships?
I can't
remember one of them, but the Pan Am.
I got bronze at the Pan Am championships that were paired with the qualifier.
Okay.
So we went to the tournament the week before the qualifier. I got bronze there, and then the week after, I don't even know if what I placed. It's all a blur. I was feeling like crap. I feel like I probably caught whatever bug it was at the Pan Am Games, and then came back and had was
the
sick.
issue there too.
So, but it's whatever. Went on, got my silver at Pan Am's in Guatemala the following year, and then I had a few other international tournaments that I went to. And had a pretty good run with Team Canada. And when I was early on, like we talked about when I was in high school, I had never even dreamed of going that far. And then my dreams sorted. My goals got a little bit bigger as I went on. My only goal ever was just make Team Canada, get that Canada wrestling singlet, because I used to see guys with the Canada wrestling singlets who would buy them or something, and then my coaches early on would be like, don't ever buy one of those. Don't ever buy one of those. Earn one of those. And then I was like, okay, all right, I'll do that. So got my Team Canada singlet, got a couple Pan Am medals, and I was felt really proud of what I had done with the sport of wrestling, and I also seen the international competition. Got to wrestle guys like David Taylor and get smoked. And
David Taylor is the head coach of Oklahoma State right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I had no idea. That's
Yeah,
what
he
he's
just
doing.
well, John Smith retired and
Yeah.
Dave Taylor's there now, but
Wow.
yeah, and he just retired from international competition. I think the last Olympics.
Yeah.
But.
I tried to arm spin that guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How did it work out for you?
Well, to my credit,
Yeah.
he came up to me afterwards too, and he was like, "Those mats were pretty slippery, buddy." I was like, "Yeah." It was COVID era, so they were like wiping the mats down between every round, and they were wiping them down with like just soap.
Mm-hmm.
So they were so slippery, and I went to do this arm spin, and my feet just slid right out from underneath of me, and he just went, put me down, got a couple turns, it was game over. So,
Yeah.
But it was cool to step in there with him, and like for the first time I didn't really have any stage fright.
Mm-hmm.
Once I got on Team Canada, I stopped having stage fright going to these international tournaments and stuff, and being like, wow, there's thousands of people watching, and most of them are not from Canada. So if I lose here and go back home, nobody's gonna know. But there's because obviously international appeal of wrestling is a lot bigger than it is here.
Yeah.
But yeah, went out there and I was like, I'm gonna get this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I did not get him.
Well, he's a tough guy to get.
Yeah. Well, no doubt.
Especially when the mats are slippery.
Yeah. But he did say that to me.
Yeah.
He did say those mats are pretty slippery. I was
Yeah.
like, thanks, man. I would have lost anyway. But
going back to you're talking about your mindset, and you're talking about how you're nervous and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get any, help from, Brock, maybe from a psychologist there? Do they have team psychologists that you could actually tap into, or how did you conquer that after? Did it just happen?
It just kind of happened. The other thing is, I mentioned earlier, I went to school.
Mm-hmm.
When I was at school, I was a psych major.
Mm-hmm.
So I read a lot of books. I read a lot of one of my favorite books of all time, and I don't know if you cuss on this podcast, but it's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books.
Mm-hmm.
That actually got me through my stabbing injury.
Okay.
I was having a lot of like inner conflicts, and my friend just nearly killed me, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I read that book, and it's it's not exactly how it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it sounds funny. That's to get you in the door.
Yep.
But it's a lot of Eastern philosophy and sort of mindfulness and just realizing how, like, that you're not a big deal in the great scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of, like, people care, and the people that do care are going to kind of be there, and, and ultimately all you can control is all you can control, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good thing to look back on and shake off nerves and stuff. But I read a lot of books along those lines about being confident and not giving a fuck.
Yeah, well, and I'm still coaching, as you know. I'm coaching wrestling and football now.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the big things is, again, you talk about reading. I'm reading a lot of these books, and I get them handed to me. Actually, I'm going to mention his name again, but I absolutely love this coach from the University of Michigan. He's a swim coach, Jim Richardson. He's given me tons of books to read from, whether it's about mindset or this or that. But there's one in particular that I was given to by actually a football coach. And I can't remember the name of it, but I actually bring it up in practice. And it's about building confidence for these kids, because I deal with these young kids, right? Yeah. And ESP, right? And it stands for effort, success, and progress.
Okay.
And I get these kids to, through their mind on a daily basis, to think about instances, whether it's in practice, whether it's in, at school, or whatever they're doing in life. Yeah. What did you do that you put 100% of your effort in? Yeah. What did you do that you had success with? Yeah. What did you do that you're making progress with? Yeah. And they name those off. But what that's supposed to do is actually build confidence in your abilities, because you're not focusing on the negative stuff that most people do, because we're trained, psychology maybe, right? Yeah. We look to keep ourselves safe. We look for dangerous things. Yeah. We're out to look for those sort of things. So to protect ourselves,
Yeah.
we stay away from that sort of thing, and we remember those negative things. We dwell on them. So though teaching the kids to kind of get away from it. So when you mentioned books and you're reading it, some people are like, yeah, whatever, he's reading a book and he cured himself. Come on.
Yeah.
Tell you, man, that stuff works for these kids. Like my kids, when they're wrestling, I got one girl who just flipped the switch. She had some issues with, I think it was her confidence and in placing her mindset in the wrong spot after a loss. And now, she'd lost one match, had to wrestle this girl, best out of 3. Loses the first match. She goes into, the corner, not happy with herself. I have this conversation with her. And then the next 2 matches, same girl. Didn't get scored on once, and she won the 2 matches. And it was just a matter of mindset. That's all it was. So that's so important just to have that there. So that concludes part 1 of this episode. Part 2 will be released next week. But don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Coach Geris and on X, as well as our Facebook page, Wrestling with Goals, the Conceive, Believe, and Achieve podcast. I hope you found today's episode insightful and inspiring. Your support means the world to us, so don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a comment in the section below. Your feedback fuels our journey to bring you more valuable content and stories from the realm of sports. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries, believing in yourself, and achieving greatness. Thank you for listening.